Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
Well,
Thanks again, Gary.
Imagine being young, full of hope, and madly in love. You do everything you can to be the good guy, the knight in shining armor, and then reality hits. Today we're taking a deep dive into The Last American Virgin, an 80s gem that hits harder than you would expect. This movie isn't just another teen rom-com, it's a crash course in heartbreak and the brutal reality of the nice guy trap. The Last American Virgin takes us down the road, showing us how painful it can be when the nice guy realizes that love isn't about playing by the rules. But here's the twist. Maybe he didn't deserve sympathy in the first place. After all, we're talking about Gary, a guy who steps into the role of the reliable simp jutsu master without a second thought. So why is it that the Garys of the world find themselves sidelined while the Ricks seem to thrive? Get ready, because The Last American Virgin delivers some raw red pill truths that are as relevant now as they were back then. Shout out to Patreon gang member Mr. Dale for requesting this video. Salute! Quick note, to give you the best experience without copyright interruptions, our full uncut content is available on Patreon. So if you enjoy our content and want the full experience, support us on Patreon. Patreon gang, salute! Spoiler alert! This video contains spoilers, so you've been warned.
Ain't that a man?
Here's Gary, our protagonist. He's got a big heart, a job delivering pizzas, and a major crush on Karen. Now Karen, she's all about Rick, the guy with the good looks, the confidence, and the unapologetic bad boy swag. You know, the kind of guy who treats life like one endless hookup. Karen's attraction to Rick is immediate, fierce, and totally out of Gary's league. But Gary's got his hopes up because he thinks being the nice guy somehow gives him the edge. Classic mistake. Rick isn't trying to win her over with kindness. He's not concerned with her problems. He's not giving her emotional support. And he's certainly not offering any financial assistance. But there's an undeniable spark there. A raw instinctual attraction that doesn't care about nice guy qualities. Attraction isn't about logic, and Karen's eyes are set on Rick from the start. Tough news for Gary, but he hasn't realized it yet. So why does Gary even bother? What keeps him so dedicated to someone who's clearly out of reach? Well, he's about to find out exactly what happens when you confuse kindness with entitlement. Gary's got it bad. When Karen finds herself in a tight spot, it's Gary who steps up. He's there for her emotionally, financially, and physically. He even pays for her abortion. And this is where the nice guy myth gets shattered. Gary thinks that all his support will win Karen over, that his loyalty will finally make him the one. But spoiler alert, attraction doesn't work like that.
Karen? What's wrong?
I'm pregnant.
Don't worry. It's gonna be alright.
You know, of course, there are certain precautions you could have taken before the few moments of pleasure that you enjoyed. The operation itself is quite simple. Still, it does cost money. $250 to be exact.
That's okay. I can cover that.
Cash.
Cash.
Fine.
This scene speaks volumes. Karen's made her choices, and Gary's cleaning up after her mess, thinking this sacrifice will earn him her love. But here's the red pill. Karen isn't drawn to Gary's nice guy routine. She's seeking stability, sure, but that's not the same as wanting him. If anything, Gary's constant support makes him more like a fallback plan, a convenient safety net, not someone she actually desires. And we have to ask, is Gary really that innocent here? He's not interested in Rose, who clearly likes him. So it's not just about being nice, it's about selective attraction, even though attraction is not a choice. Gary only wants the one he can't have, which ironically is the same brutal game Karen is playing with Rick. Rick is the quintessential 80s Chad. He's smooth, he's careless, and he doesn't stick around for the consequences. He's the guy Karen goes for, not because he treats her right, but because he doesn't try to treat her at all. In fact, his indifference is a major part of his charm.
She's been getting on my nerves. She's pregnant, you creep. So what? She's not the first. Yeah, but you were. Have you forgotten? Me? The first? Forget it, buddy. What are you trying to say? I'm saying that I'm probably not the only guy that ever screwed her. Take that back before I decide to bust your head wide open. I'll say whatever you asshole.
Rick even tries to set Gary straight. He warns him that Karen's past isn't as pure as he imagines. But Gary's not having it. He's too invested in his white knight fantasy, thinking he can save Karen from herself. Gary's hooked on an illusion, convinced that being a good guy somehow entitles him to Karen's affection. But the reality? Gary is a backup, a safe option, the guy Karen turns to only when her bad boy falls short. Quick side note on the movie's symbolism. Pay attention to how Gary and Rick dress when dealing with Karen. Gary's in blue, signifying trust, loyalty, and sincerity, while Rick rocks red, representing passion, excitement, and danger. These colors aren't just wardrobe choices, they embody their opposing roles in Karen's life. Gary, the quote-unquote nice guy, is loyal to a fault, blinded by his blue pill idealism. Meanwhile, Rick, with his red pill confidence, represents the raw truth of attraction. No promises, just presence. The clash of blue and red perfectly mirrors their dynamic with Karen. The movie builds up to a brutal yet necessary lesson for Gary, and by extension, for every nice guy watching. Gary finally does the single thing he never should have done. He confesses his love to Karen. You can almost hear the violence in the background as he pours his heart out, expecting some kind of redemption. But guess what? Karen, she's not having it. She's already back with Rick, the guy who literally abandoned her when she needed him most. This ending hits hard because it's so unflinchingly real. The so-called nice guy was never going to win her heart. And here's why that's a good thing.
I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough.
This is pure gold! And that song by James Ingram, Just Once, amplifies the brutality of this scene. Gary's heartbreak is the red pill he needs. He finally sees the game for what it is. Brutal, yes, but also enlightening. His feelings don't entitle him to Karen's affection, and being a nice guy isn't a trump card. Instead, he was acting like a simp jutsu master, mistaking sympathy and emotional investment for love. And the harsh truth, Karen was never his to win. This is the exact lesson so many nice guys need to wake up to. The painful reality of The Last American Virgin is that attraction doesn't care about fairness, kindness, or effort. Gary's role as the nice guy didn't earn him anything but a harsh wake-up call. Meanwhile, Rick, the Chad, gets Karen's attention without lifting a finger. But here's the twist. Gary doesn't have to stay in his role. This is a wake-up call to raise his standards, see the game for what it is, and stop treating women like they owe him anything for his nice guy routine.
And this is Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Oh. Hi, Rose.
Would you like to dance, Gary? Let's dance.
Rose, I don't know.
Come on, dance with me.
We also see that attraction runs both ways here. Rose has a thing for Gary, but Gary, he's not feeling it. And let's be honest, it's not just because she's too available. Rose doesn't have Karen's looks or the same allure. And Gary's only got eyes for that idealized version of Karen he's built up in his head. This irony underscores the whole point. Attraction isn't about deserving someone or finding a nice match. It's often about those raw, uncontrollable impulses. And Gary's impulses are locked firmly on Karen, the girl he thinks he can't live without. If there's one lesson from The Last American Virgin, it's that simping won't get you anywhere. Gary learns the hard way that kindness doesn't equate to attraction, and nice guys don't finish last because they're nice. They finish last because they put themselves last and expect kindness to make up for lack of real chemistry. Attraction isn't a transaction, and it's certainly not a reward for loyalty. Gary needed this wake-up call, and so does anyone else who's ever been a little too attached to their nice guy identity. So the next time you find yourself in Gary's shoes, ask yourself, are you really being kind, or are you just hoping for a return on your investment? Because in the end, the game doesn't care about fairness, and that's what makes it brutal, honest, and necessary. Patreon supporters, salute! Man, that's where we work it. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.